All right, good night. Welcome to Conversation with Rickford Burke. Of course, this is Rickford here in New York. Share the link, everybody. If you're watching me from Facebook, ensure that you like and follow the page that you're watching from. These lights are bright. Can we turn this one on? This one. This one. If you're watching me from YouTube, subscribe. If you're watching me from IG, follow me. Wherever you're watching from, I hope you're having a good night. We have a very interesting program tonight. I'll get into the details just now. Let me first do some preliminaries here. It's now 8:06 here in New York on the west coast of the United States. Sorry, on the east coast of the United States. Those of you watching from the west coast, it's in the evening. It's going to be around 5:05 or 5:06 p.m. If you're watching me from Europe, my friends in Europe, London, etc., good morning to you. If you're watching from Africa and Asia, good morning. We have a large contingent that watches this show from Africa and India. Africa and India. And so I want to say good morning to them. They must be staying up late to watch this show or getting up early. Especially good night to my friends in the United States military who are watching, from one friend in Japan, one friend in Germany. I know they're faithful watchers of the show, one from West Demerara, one from East Coast Demerara. Share the link, everybody. Get into all your Guyanese groups and share the link. It's with raining all day here in New York. It's just eased a bit. So it's overcast, a little cold, not that much, probably like 40 degrees. And we're enjoying the weather. Share the link, everybody. When I get back, I'll get into the programs we have with us tonight. Attorney at Law James Bond, former executive of the PNC / APNU, who now says that he supports our finale on the PPP. He'll explain why. Back in 60 seconds. Okay, welcome back. This is Conversation with Rickford Burke. Again, this is Rickford Burke, your host, here in New York. Let me get my water. Let me get my pen. Oops, I threw the pen down. You just grab the pen for me. And so tonight, my guest is Attorney at Law James Bond. James Bond is a former member of Parliament for the People's National Congress slash APNU, and also he was the former youth leader for the APNU coalition. He now says he supports the People's Progressive Party and Irfan Ali, who's the current president of Guyana. And joining me now is James Bond.
Hi, Rickford. How are you doing?
There you go. Good night, sir. How are you?
Good night, man. Good to see you, sir.
I see you're enjoying the outdoor environment there in Melanie, Guyana.
I'm in Georgetown. I'm in Georgetown.
Oh, you're in Georgetown. Okay, good, 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 good. Oh, you have a second home in Georgetown now? You don't have to answer that question. So welcome to the show. I think you've been on the program once. Have you ever?
No, no, you have never invited me. And Rickford, most persons know you and I are the same planet. We share a very close relationship, and you've never invited me to your show. This is the
I
first
wonder why
time.
you
So,
never made
so
yourself
thank you.
available. I wonder why you never made yourself available to come on the
It's an
show, Jim.
invitation, my brother. You never invited me, man. You never invited me.
No, I think it's the other
I,
way, right? I don't think you
I'm a
ever
small man. I'm
made
a small
yourself
man.
available.
I'm
Huh?
a small man. So you interview the big guns, the big guns.
Oh, you think so? Okay. Well, hey, you rolling with the president? How are you gonna be calling me a big gun here? So listen, I want to start off this conversation.
Yeah.
We'll have a discussion tonight. This is called a conversation with Rickford Burke. So I want to start off this conversation. Let me share my screen here for a second. Keep sharing the link, everybody. And some people have already sent me like 3 questions. So hopefully we can within this hour and a half, we can push as many questions in. Guys, I have my own questions, so I know you guys have sent me questions. James probably got some people set up to send some questions. I don't know. He's a politician. Politicians do these things. All right. So I want to share. Um, okay. Hopefully, I have a little. Okay. I think we're putting it up there. Are we? All right. Good. Can you see?
No, I can't. I can't see.
Okay. So I want to put the first question has to do with this article, and the article is Kaitra News article from December 8th, from December 8th, 2011. And it says police shooting, Brigadier Collins, Attorney James Bond, used bodies to protect women. And it says Attorney at Law James Bond, who was also the youth leader of the Partnership for National Unity and former Army Chief of Staff, Brigadier Collins, um, have vowed that they were not deterred on Tuesday after they were shot by police. And they have a photograph. Um, I'm not sure if I still we have we got the photograph later, but it showed a photograph of you being. Let me see if I can get that being shot by the police. And it says that you received 33 pellets. There you go. All right. So I guess for some persons on the can actually see to the right. There you go. Can you see there, James?
Yes, 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 very clearly.
Okay, good. So that's you and Brigadier Collins, the former chief of staff of the Ghana Defense Force, and this happened in 2011.
Yeah,
In this article, I'm not going to read the whole article, but in this article, you blame the government, which then was the PP government in power. You blame the government for being evil, for being inhumane and barbaric. For and you said that these were peaceful protesters, and
yeah.
the protest was calling on GCOM to release their SOPs because at that point in time, I think GCOM was accused of trying to steal a seat from the coalition. Do you still think that this was barbaric, and or do you now agree that you should have been shot for protesting peacefully against PP government?
First and foremost, thank you for highlighting my sacrifices. Thank you for reminding the Guyanese people of what I endured. Thank you for highlighting to the Guyanese people that James Bond was never a coward, that he stood firm for what he believed in and was prepared to die for it. Thank you for highlighting my contribution to the coalition of not only gaining them a one seat majority in 2012, but getting him into office in 2015. I must thank you, sir, for bringing that up. If I had died that day, I would have been remembered as a martyr for this country. Now, I wish to make it very clear that I believe in peaceful protest. I believe that Guyanese of all races, of all political persuasions, must have the right to protest for what they believe in and not be shot,
Okay.
not be injured, not be treated barbarically or cruel or evil. The
So you
treatment
still
I
believe?
received,
So you
let
still
me finish.
believe? You
Let
still
me
believe
finish.
that?
Let me finish.
Go ahead. Mm.
Let me finish. I The treatment that myself received, Eddie Collins received, was barbaric, it was inhumane, it was evil. There was absolutely no need for the police to open fire on peaceful protesters. Absolutely no reason, sir. And the issue is not government. And I want to make this very clear. We have had successive governments, and I'm glad Dr. admitted this when he said we have committed violence against each other since 1960s, 1961. So with successive governments, PNC governments, PPP governments, coalition governments, we've seen excesses. We've seen incidences of police brutality. And we must, as a country, attack it at its root. It's not governments, it's the
Which
system
so? But
in
hold on,
which,
Jane, hold on. But in the article, you blame the government, and
yes,
so
and again,
what I was
yeah,
wondering,
yeah,
do you still believe that the and over several days, I read all the articles. Over several days, you advocated
yeah,
that the government must be held accountable for instructing
yes,
the police for
yes,
shooting you. So
yeah.
my question is, do you still believe the PNP government was responsible for opening fire on peaceful protesters?
I believe that at that time and currently, if the Guyana Police Force, under any government, PPC government, coalition government, if the police force under any government commits egregious acts against the citizens, it's the fault of the government. The responsibility must lie at the feet of the government.
Mhm.
And that is why I stress that we must at all times strive for reform in the police force, that the police force reacts professionally, that the police force reacts
But you
humanely.
just said the
Uh,
government must be blamed.
Again, I
So
said
are
we
we
must strive
reforming
for
the
police
government or are we reforming the
reform.
both?
And again, whether or not government changes, the police force must act professionally. They must act humanely. That is my contention. Not because it's a PPC government or a PNC government or a AFC government means there must be excesses. I'm saying the core issue is police reform. Police reform. So
Okay,
whether or
so let
not
me
the
ask.
government changes, whether or not the government changes, the police act in a
Agreed.
professional manner.
So let's say my young cousin on the quarantine at Manchester wants to follow you, and he says, James, the police shot at you. You're a prominent attorney. You're a political leader, and they shot at you. I am scared to express my rights to exercise my right to peaceful protest because if they can shoot you and almost kill you, what are they going to do to me? Under the PPP, it's not happened under the coalition government. For 23 years, it happened under the PPP several times. What are you going to say to that young person who says to you, the PPP apparently doesn't believe in, especially Afro-Guyanese, expressing their rights because you'll be shot at. They'll use the police to shoot you, and you can't tell me no, they wouldn't do that because look, I'm looking at a photograph right now.
Yeah, protest again. Let me just correct this here. Under the AP and UFC coalition government, protesters were shot and killed. That was ignored. I mean, you may not remember that. An
You
Indian
mean the
protester
protester
was shot.
that chopped the police officer and sent him in hospital for a couple of weeks?
I'm saying under the coalition government,
Right.
a protester was shot and killed.
But hold on,
Under
stay
the,
up in there. We got to put it in context, though, my brother. That
yeah,
protester that was shot and killed at Rosignol chopped several police officers. One severely injured, was hospitalized for over a week, and he responded, or his colleagues responded, by shooting him. That's violence against the police. We're not talking about that. You just said it
yeah.
was a peaceful protest.
You
So
you make
it's in
yeah.
that context I'm asking.
And again, and I could even go further back than that. Under the coalition government, there were incidences of uh, extrajudicial killings. Under the PNC government, there was issues of um,
But
protesters
James, we're
being
talking about the
shot and
PPP now.
arrested.
No,
Under the
hold on.
PPC government, can I
We talking
finish?
specifically.
Yeah,
We
under
can
the
talk to the people.
PPC government,
We gonna hold
under
on.
the PPC
I don't
government,
want to
their
confuse
protesters were
people.
shot and killed.
No, James, hold on. Here, what you're doing? You're creating a false
Yeah,
comparison. You can't compare the coalition government with the violence unleashed against black citizens by the PPP. You can't compare. They're not comparable. Under the
why not?
coalition government,
Why not?
every time there was a shooting or something, there was a investigation. I don't want to go to the extrajudicial killings. I'll come to that. I want to deal specifically because this is a concern that I have as president of CGID. A lot of people have. The PPP has propensity for shooting at especially Afro-Guyanese when they protest. I've never seen any police shoot other citizens when they protest peacefully.
Maybe
And I'm
you were
using
never
your
wrong. You were
example.
never wrong. Maybe you were never wrong during the period of the WPA. Maybe you were too young to know about those protests that were broken up. Maybe you were too young to know about Father Dark. Maybe you were too young about Walter Rodney. But my point is this here: under every single government we've had, protesters were shot and killed. And if you want to say that the shootings under the PP Civic are worse than those under other governments, then I cannot accept what you're saying.
No. I'm not going to shootings yet. Hold on. No, you
We
jump in.
talk about
We're
protesters.
gonna come
We
to.
talk about
Hold on.
protesters. Yeah.
We're gonna come to that. I'm using your example. Your
Yeah.
words were these protesters were peacefully protesting. They were
Yes.
shot at by police. It was inhumane. It was barbaric.
Yes.
And it happened several times under the People's Progressive Party.
And it
My
happened for
question to
several.
you,
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
hold on, before we get to that,
Yeah.
my question to you is, could you answer that young man from Borbies who right now is in Georgia and he wants to know if he actually spoke to me about this, if he listens to you and goes out and protests, because as a lawyer, he just advised me that that's his right. Under the PPP, he's saying the PPP has a propensity of shooting at young black people or black people, period, when they protest peacefully, quote unquote, you.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm
I'll
saying,
answer him. Could I answer him?
yes.
I would say, my dear young brother, Under successive governments, protesters were shot. Under successive governments, protesters were killed. Under successive governments, protesters were imprisoned. It is not a PPC problem, it's a Guyana history problem. We've had it from since the 60s, on to the 70s, on to the 80s,
But James, we
on to
don't
the
know about that. We're
90s,
not
the
living in that time.
2000s.
We're living
No,
now.
no,
We're
sir,
living
sir.
now.
All right, but very, all right, all right. You were probably not living at that time. Maybe you want to deny that part of our history, but our history has been a violent one.
Good. But
And
here, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
I'll
hold on.
tell
No,
that
no,
young
hold on, hold on.
protest, I'll tell that young
James,
guy.
here,
Yeah.
James,
Uh-huh.
are you justifying the PPP shooting at you, a brigadier, and other afro-Guyanese because it happened before under previous governments? Wasn't it wrong under those governments as well?
That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying it was wrong under every single government. And for us
Right.
to single out a particular government or a particular period, it is not, if I may put it this way, it's being facetious.
No, I'm
You have to
singling it out because
examine,
it happened to
you
you.
have to
You,
examine. No,
I'm,
but
here, I'm talking
yeah, let
to
me
you,
hear you. Let me
right?
hear you. Let me hear
It
you. Yeah.
happened it happened, don't evade the thing, man. We having a good conversation. It happened with you.
Yeah.
It is,
Uh-huh.
we weren't around when Father Dart was shot, whatever it is. We don't know if those
Where when
were
Walter
peaceful
Rodney was
protests.
shot?
I was not around. But listen to this. My
You were
question,
not
I
around
was
when
around
Walter Rodney was
though
shot, 1979?
When James Bond was shot at. And I'm asking you,
Yeah.
why should a young person like that 20-year-old boy feel that you're giving him the right advice to go out and exercise his constitutional right to protest under the PPP government that you now support that shoots at people? And do you think you should have been shot at now? And how can you support a party that shoots people who protest against them peacefully?
Well, I would tell him very simply, and again, I joined the PNC in 2011. And though I did not experience what some Guyanese experienced under the PNC, um, I joined the PNC nonetheless. The issue is not the political parties. And it's a very simple point. You may not want to accept it. You may want to think I'm not answering how you want to be answered. My point is very simply: the problem is not with the governments. The problem is our police force reform. The police must act in a professional manner.
If the police is
Whether
instructed,
it's
if the police is
again,
instructed to,
yeah.
listen, I want you to use force to remove those protesters from the street. And the police go out there and shoots at James Bond and a brigadier. I submit to you that if that was Jamaica, there wouldn't be any PP government
No,
anymore.
but
But
Mr.
but
Burke,
if
Mr. Burke,
but
Mr. Burke.
hold on. Who is accountable? Who do we hold accountable? If the police commissioner says to you, James, I'm sorry I shot you, but I was instructed by the government officials to use force, who is accountable?
Mr. Burke, may I answer you the way that the Walter Rodney Commissioner of Inquiry would have put it very clearly when they were speaking of what transpired around his death.
I want to
They
speak
said
about
that
what
the Guyana
transpired
police
when you
force,
were shot, when you,
no,
James Bond, was
again,
shot 33
again,
times.
Mr. Burke, I think we're having a conversation, but again, we must have an honest conversation.
Good.
If you want to make this personal about me, then you're not being honest with the Guyanese people.
I am, because
This
here,
is
no,
all
no,
right,
hold
but
on, let me explain to you
no, let me
what I'm
finish.
trying
Let
to
me
accomplish.
finish. Let me finish. Can I finish one single point?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I know you have to assert yourself, etc.
No, no,
But
no,
let me
no, no,
make
it's
one
not about
single
that.
point. All right,
I
good.
want to make sure we stay on
It
the
has to
issue
be.
of.
I'm a person. I'm a
Mhm,
person who looks at things holistically. If
mhm.
you're gonna make this thing personal about James Bond, then we'll get nowhere. Let
No,
us
no,
make this
no.
national.
I'm not
Let me
necessarily
finish.
making it. Go
Let me
ahead.
finish, please.
Go ahead.
Don't let us make this about James Bond. There is an issue. It's not James Bond alone was shot.
Hmm.
Persons have been shot by the Guyana police force throughout the history of our country. We've had a
Hmm.
history of protesters being shot, of people who were not in agreement with the government being shot. It is not a
Hmm.
PPP problem. It's not a PNC problem. It's a
Hmm.
reform of the Guyana police force problem. If you
Hmm.
have a professional police force, they will not take instructions and directions from the political directorate. That is the
Hmm.
point I'm making.
And risk being fired?
That is the point I'm making. And risk, again, just as how we insulate the judiciary, we
Hmm.
must insulate the Guyana police force so
Hmm.
that their appointments and their promotions and that has nothing to do with government. Let them draw their monies directly from the consolidated fund. Don't let
Okay,
us
good.
focus on the simple
Let us come
problem
back
of.
to the issue.
Can I finish? Let me just finish, man. We're having a conversation here.
Hmm.
Let
I
us
want to move on
not
from
look
this
at this
point, but
thing in a.
finish your point, and then I'll.
Let us not look at this thing in a piecemeal manner. The PP Civic will come and go, and people will still get shot for protesting. So it's
Mhm.
not a PP problem. So young man, feel free to go protest, but you must understand this: no matter which government is in power, as long as your interests collide with theirs, you're at risk because the Ghana police force
At
must
risk
be
of being
reformed.
shot? Is that acceptable? That's the advice you give
Again,
them?
and I repeat, you're at risk. You're at risk at all times of being shot. But if you
What?
have a reformed Guyana police force,
Mhm.
then you are protected. We have to reform the police force to act professionally at all times.
Okay,
That's all
so
I'm saying.
to wrap up, let me go back to the original question.
Yeah.
Do you still hold the PPP government accountable for shooting you, for instructing the police to use force? And during that process, you and a former head of the army were shot. Do you still hold the PPP government accountable?
I will always hold the PP civic government responsible for the shooting of the protesters at that time. They were the government of the day, whilst myself, Brigadier Collins, and others were shot. I will always say, as a government, they should have protected us. I will always hold them responsible.
All right, let's move
Always.
on. You answered the
Uh-huh.
question. Let's move on. Similarly, in let me switch to, well, I don't have to switch. Let me take this off. Similar. There you go with your handsome self. Um, Similarly, in 2020, when the government changed, when the coalition government changed, they came into power in what? Mid-year, I guess. And in on November 25th, you were arrested. You were arrested for being part of a transaction. And you and I spoke about this at length. I remember this. You were arrested for a transaction in which you perform your duties in the capacity of a lawyer. And your clients purchased land that the government said was sold way below market value, etc. And they were saying there were two similar transactions, and even because there were two similar transactions, it was fraudulent and all that. And you were arrested along with several other um, coalition members, uh, Paula Lawrence, um, some MPs, Christopher Jones. There was a witch hunt going on, and you were arrested. And you at the time called those charges politically motivated. My question to you is, what's the status of those charges? And if those charges were politically motivated indeed, uh, what would you advise afro-Guyanese people, or Guyanese period, entering into politics and looking at you as an example that you were prosecuted because you carry out functions in the capacity of an attorney, and it was a political witch hunt by the People's Progressive Party, the party that you support now?
Yeah, I would say very clearly, I suffered no differently than Dr. Ashley Singh. I suffered no differently from Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali. Um, there were a number of, and this is the thing with politics, is at some point we're all casualties. We all become casualties.
So you're
Those,
Take a minute.
those,
So you're equating. So I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to understand what you're saying. You're equating your arrest with the charges that were levied against Anil Nanalal, Dr. Singh, um, Ashley Singh, uh, Mike Brassington, Jennifer Westford, a whole lot of people, but specifically the names you mentioned, they went to every court in Guyana, and every court ruled that there was sufficient evidence for the charges and refused to dismiss those charges. Are you saying, are you comparing those charges
Yeah,
that you
I think
received?
the charges that we received are similar that what Dr. Mohammed Irfanali got as well.
You mean
You know,
the
charges are
statute under
similar.
which you were charged
Yeah,
is
it's
similar?
very similar. Yeah, similar.
Right, but
And
are the circumstances similar? Was it a
yeah,
political witch hunt that Green Jerk?
yeah, the facts may differ, but the essence, the core essence of the charges are the same.
So are you admitting that you should have been charged?
Again, it's not me admitting whether I should be charged or not. Again, it's a system you have to look at. You know that when governments do what governments do, but again, once you have a professional police force, then you don't run the risk of these things happening. You know, because
So,
again, a professional force looking at the evidence without a political lens will come for a different result. And it has happened not only with
James,
James
no, no, no,
Bond.
no, 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 no. Here,
It happened.
you're misleading yourself there. Here, why? The courts, your matter is, I don't know the status of it, but these matters with Ali, Ashley Singh, Blashington, etc., they were reviewed by the courts. It's not the police force. They were reviewed by every court, straight up to the Court of Appeal. And every court ruled that there was sufficient evidence to substantiate the charge.
I beg to disagree. I beg to disagree, sir.
And what
I
are you
beg to
disagreeing
disagree.
about?
That they challenge the charges or they file action against the charges until the Court of Appeal. I beg to
Yes,
disagree, sir.
yes,
I beg to
all of
disagree,
them.
sir.
All of them. I could go back and do the research and correct it. But I am sure that they appealed those charges and the courts ruled that they must go and face the
I
charges.
beg to dis-
Okay,
I beg to
we'll go back
disagree,
and
sir.
check it. But in
Beg,
your case,
yeah,
was
beg
was
to
there
disagree, sir.
was there judicial was there review by the High Court and the Court of Appeal in your case?
No, there was no judicial review in my matters. There was no
So then
judicial review in
it
my
is
matter.
not accurate to say that it was comparable and that they were all politically motivated, because I am telling you those charges were challenged in the High Court straight up to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal ruled that they must go and face stand trial.
I beg to disagree, sir. You could
All right,
fact check it right
somebody
now.
who has the facts, can
You could
you
fact check it right
send me
now.
those articles where the Court of Appeal ruled that? We'll come back to that. Let's move on. Now, you raised the issue of extrajudicial killings, but before we get to extrajudicial killings, and I want you to understand what I'm doing here. What I'm doing is you support a political party with a certain history, and that history connects to you and connects to your advocacy. And that's why I want to ask you certain questions to see where your conviction changed. So I'm not um, doing any political attacks on you or anything like that. I want to figure out how young people that I'm sure you want to advocate to must follow a political party that has a history of, in my opinion, violence and atrocities against people of a uh, certain Guyanese. Sorry, I thought I lost you there. Certain Guyanese, and why they must support them like you. So that's why
Oh,
I'm asking this question.
Mr. Borg, with all due respect,
Mhm.
that's a lopsided analysis.
It
With all
wasn't an
due respect,
analysis. It was an
because
explanation of.
you're
Hold
not
on. It
asking
was
them to
not an
examine.
analysis. It was an
Yeah,
explanation
no, but
of
it's
my
very
reason to
lopsided.
ask the questions.
You're very lopsided because you can't ask them to examine one political party. You must now say examine all political parties because you know very well know. You very well know. You served under Hoyt. You very well know.
Mhm,
You may feign ignorance,
mhm,
but you very well know that under the PNC that we were a part of,
mhm,
atrocities were committed.
Not
You
in my
very
time,
well
or
know.
I would have left. But hold on. Let's
No,
look
no,
at this video.
you didn't leave us yet. You didn't leave us yet.
No. What I'm
I can
saying,
assure
if there
you
was
that
any
you didn't leave
atrocity,
us yet.
hold on. What I'm saying is, if there
Yeah,
was any atrocity that was committed against any citizen when I was in the PNC,
sir,
I would have
sir,
spoken out and
sir,
left the
sir,
PNC.
sir,
But
sir.
hold on,
You're
hold on, hold on,
you're
hold on, hold
saying
on.
you're saying
Hold on, James.
no,
That's not guiding
yeah,
the discussion. Let
no,
me.
but I know you're guiding, but again, I have to respond to certain things you say. You're
No,
saying
I'm
that
not
James.
asking for a response yet. What I was
But
doing.
you've made a point.
Mhm,
You've
mhm,
made a point.
mhm.
You're an attorney, and
But
you've made a
no, but
point.
here's something, John.
Allow me
Yeah,
to
here.
respond to your point. You've made a
No,
point that
it wasn't. It was an
with the PNC.
explanation. Hold on.
I'm now supporting the PPP Civic,
Mhm.
and that I am supposed to be responsible or of whatever happened in the past.
No,
And
no,
I'm
no, 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 no,
saying,
no, no.
sir,
I'm not suggesting that at all. You're
you
misunderstanding me.
are,
Let me
you
clarify.
are,
No, let me
you
clarify.
are.
I'm
And I'm
saying I'm
saying the
asking these
PPP's
questions coming
history,
up.
the
Hold
PPP's
on.
history, the PPP's history, the PPP's history
Right.
is not my history.
No, no, no.
The
But that's not
PNC
what I'm saying.
history
I'm
is not
saying
my
that.
history.
Hold on. This
All
was a
right?
preamble. My statement then was a preamble to the questions I'm about to
Yeah.
ask now. And I'm saying I'm asking these questions not as a political attack, but because of the party's history, in my opinion, of atrocities. I have to ask you these
Well,
questions in light of
again, be
your
honest, like Dr.
previous,
Hines.
in light of
Everything,
your previous statements against the same party. Anyway, let's
again,
play this video and we'll come back to it.
again.
This was a scene at KNV Mocha Arcade today as the Ministry of Housing, accompanied by members of the Riot Squad of the Guyana Police Force, moved to demolish the structures occupied by squatters who failed to accept the compensation offered by the government. The Housing Ministry said the land on which the persons are on form part of the construction of the Eccles to Great Diamond Highway. Shots were fired by the police and persons were arrested, while angry residents threw bricks, bottles, and flammable objects at the police. At one point, the excavator caught fire.
What did them do? Like, me want to talk no more, man. It does everything damaged. Them telling me for coming one by one. Them saying that we house ward. In these hard times, when you can pay 6 million or 5 million or 2 million for these things they know, then what's expensive? Nails expensive, board expensive, everything gone high. We bed broke up. Everything broke up. What I sleep? I need funny. Then the rain wet me up. If I take I the road, I'm a homeless girl now. Now I'm a homeless girl.
And this is totally wrong what the people doing. This is totally wrong. These people need to give we justice. 20-something years now we family live over here, boss. Actually 30 years now. Where we going?
The area was surrounded by the police and housing officials who were executing the exercise. They first started by removing the bridge and then this house and business place. The owner was standing her ground against the demolition when she was arrested and dragged through the mud by the police. For several minutes, she and the police wrestled until she decided to go. Moments later, her house came crashing down. The operator did not stop there. He destroyed all the beverages and other items the woman had for sale. Some were covered by the debris. By this time, some squatters started to remove their household, livestock, and other items. Opposition leader Orby Norton arrived on the scene and tried to reason with the police and the housing officials.
Why can't they meet in a civilized way?
Things got heated as the exercise continued, with residents pelting the police who returned fire. Opposition MP Roysdale Ford, Coretta MacDonald and other MPs were on hand to see the destruction.
What we see happening here
is transgression to the max, oppression to the max.
All right. So I just wanted to refresh the audience memory there because both of us know this issue very well. So a few of these residents who were displaced, brutally removed, bulldozed, shot at, women dragged through the mud by instructions, by people who carried out instructions from this government. A few of them took the matter to court. The Chief Justice ruled last week. Actually, she ruled last week dismissing their charges. I don't know what those claims were, what they petitioned the court for, but it is inconceivable to me that she just dismissed the charges without ordering the government. Oh my, hold on. We have a little issue here. Without ordering the government to compensate these people. Now that the road has been constructed and the government had claimed that these people had to be removed because they were their residence and the land was in the part of the road, that turned out to be a lie. The road has been completed and now they're trying to divide this land, allegedly. But I heard you comment on this on Dr. Hines' show. Now that you're supporting President Ali and the PPP, will you urge them to have those people return to their land since they misled the nation?
You know, I'm glad that you showed those clips. And it's a stark reminder of the plight that the poor face in Guyana, poor afro-Guyanese face in Guyana. For 28 years plus 5 years, 33 years, some of those people lived there, right there in that squatting area. And successive governments of people looking like those squatters did nothing to give them title, did nothing to give them their land.
Right, I was stipulated that.
No, Mr. Bork.
No, but James, I feel you filibustering. Here what happened. We have hold on. We got 30 minutes more. And I have a lot of questions.
Mr. Bork.
No, what I want you to answer for me, James.
If after 33 years, your people are squatting on the land and you're not giving them title to the land, you could only claim a right to
But James, you were an MP under the PNC. Did you ever advocate for these people to get the land?
Again, sir.
You were an MP.
Again, sir. 33 years in power. People looking like you and me. And then you got squatters there at Mocha Arcade and not giving them titles. What you could never doubt, though, the People's Progressive Party Civic have an aggressive land titling policy and giving people titles to their homes and their land.
Okay, that might be so. Let me ask, but I want you to, James, I want you to address what I'm saying.
You're a afro-Guyanese.
No, hold on, James.
We 33 years. It's a failure on our parts. It's a failure on my part. Yes.
James.
I failed as a black leader.
Right. But would you now, hold on, would you advocate in the PPP?
I failed as a black leader to give them titles.
Good.
I failed.
Would you advocate for these people to go back to their land since the government lied to us?
The court has ruled
that they were.
The court has ruled. The court has said very clearly, and the court.
No. The court dismissed their claims.
Again,
the court dismissed the claims.
Yeah, that's a ruling.
But outside of that, morally,
that's a ruling.
My question to you is: the court did not prohibit them from doing this. My question to you is: would you advocate for these people to be given back their lands?
Sir, the People's Progressive Party Civic has already given lands.
No.
The squatters.
No, James. My question is, and if you don't want to answer the question, it's fine. We move on.
No, I could answer it, but you don't want me to answer it.
Would you advocate?
The president has said very clearly. Yeah, let me hear you.
No, the question is, will you advocate, seeing that these people were lied to, that their homes and these lands were in the part of the road?
Lied to by whom? The
government.
person that tell them
by
to
the government. The government.
The person
they
that told them they had a right.
James. There's no question about that.
There is
The
a
people
question.
who
That's
are
why the court
moved.
ruled against them.
No,
Someone
the
told them
court
they
did
had
not
a right
rule.
to the
The
land.
court dismissed. The court dismissed their. Listen,
Yeah.
the court dismissed their case.
Because
I'm
someone lied to
asking you
them.
now, if you are willing to advocate in the PPP government, since you have this brand new
For what?
relationship with a government and a party in power again, if they would give back those people their lands, or they're going to sell it to their supporters?
Very
Would,
simply, sir. Very simply, sir.
mm,
Very simply, sir.
yes,
There were more than 6 quarters there. There were more than those. And
I
the
am
remaining
asking.
6, the
Here,
remaining
here's the
6,
premise of my question.
the
The
remaining 6,
premise,
just the court.
James, you're avoiding the question,
There were
filibustering.
those who got lands and got compensation already.
Okay, good. For the people
There were those who've
who
gotten land and compensation
for
already.
the people who
The People's
now.
Progressive Party Civic gave compensation and lands to some of the squatters already.
No.
Dr. Irfan Ali
The
says,
People's Progressive Party, Civic James, lied
yes,
to the nation that
sir.
those lands were in the path. Hold on, were in
Yeah.
the path of the road. The road is now being completed, and the land is not in the path of the road. So my question to you is: now that they have been caught lying, and you now support them, a simple question: would you advocate for them to be given back the lands because the lands are there? It is not in the path of the road. Or would you be, hold on, would you sit and see that the PPP gave Indian business people the lands that those people came off of? Or they can sell it to the people, they can do whatever. Are you willing to advocate for these people to be given back their lands? Or for the lands to be sold to them? Whatever they want back the land, would you advocate for them to be given their lands?
Very simply, sir, and you may not want my answer, that's okay, sir. The Housing Ministry, the People's Progressive Party Civic, has already laid out a plan for all the squatters here at Mocha. Some accepted the settlement of having a land and compensation.
That was not my question, though, James. The land is there now, right? Correct? Let me ask you this. The land is there now, right? The land is there. Is the land there, yes or no? Is the land there? Canview is still intact. The road is not running through Canview, correct? Have you ever driven on the road?
No, to be very frank with you, sir, to be very frank with you, I was not at Mocha in the squatting area. So
no, have you ever driven on that road? That new road? The new road?
I've driven there a number of times.
Good. Do you know where Canview was? I guess you can say no. In relation to the road.
Why would I say no?
Huh?
Why would I say no?
Good. So you know where Canview was in relation to the road, right?
No.
You don't know? Okay.
No, but I know where Mocha is. I know where Mocha is.
Okay, good. Would you accept it if I tell you that the Canview is there intact and the road is not running through Canview? Or you want the Lands and Surveys Department to go and then tell me that?
Well, you're in the US. I won't take your word for it for that.
Okay, good. But I am telling you that a PPP government official told me, and the residents as well, and the member of parliament, your former colleague, Ms. Flubes, all of them have said to me that the land is intact, and I believe them because they showed me a drone video footage of the whole area, and Nima was on this program with the video showing that the Canview is still intact and the road is about 200 feet away from Canview. So my question to you is this: these lands now are intact. We hear that they're being distributed to certain business people.
You hear? As a lawyer, you want to use those words?
Yes, I want to use it. So listen to this.
But
my question to you is, if those lands are there, hold on. No. We're not doing that. If those lands are there intact, will you see, I put the caveat to it, will you advocate for those people from Canview to be given first priority, for those lands to be sold to, for them to get back the land, for however term you want to put it, for those people to go back to their lands, or for that same land be sold to them? Are you willing to advocate for that?
I can't advocate against what the court would have decided.
The court never decided that.
The court decided that they had no right to the land.
No, the court dismissed their claims. The court dismissed their claims.
Mr. Burke, maybe you should take a moment. Have your researcher just fact check this here, all right? The court ruled that they had no right to the land.
Good. Good. Let's
No
stipulate to that.
right to the
Hold on.
land.
Hold on.
So
Let's stipulate to
I
that.
cannot now say to the
James.
court, say to
James.
anybody to give
James.
them the land.
Let's stipulate to that. Let's let's accept
Yes.
that the court said they have no right to the land.
So
My
why am I
question to you
advocating for them
now,
to have the land?
my question to you now is that the land is being sold.
Sir,
The court did not say that nobody can get the land.
Could you tell me where that is the case? Where is that?
What?
You said you heard. I mean, where did you hear that? From whom?
From who? From the residents in Mocha.
That the land
But-
is being sold?
Good, but that's not the point, though. I said to you earlier.
Come on, Mr. Burke.
If it's no, stop, James. We ain't filibuster. If it is, in fact, hold on.
You didn't hear from the government.
Forget. I withdraw that. No, James.
Land.
James, I withdraw that. If in fact the government decides to sell that land, are you willing to advocate? I'm not going to let you have the hook with this. Are you willing to advocate for the land to be sold back to those people?
If the government, hypothetically, if the government wants to sell the land, sell it to the squatters?
Yes. The people they unlawfully removed from. Brutally removed from.
Very, that's an easy answer. Any person is entitled to purchase land in Guyana, whether you're from...
Well, no. Will you advocate? Will you
I don't advocate for that. Once you have the money, buy the land. Like,
will you advocate for that? Will you advocate for that?
Sir,
for them to be given priority.
Are you listening to yourself?
What?
If they have the money, sir, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself for a second. You're saying the government is putting the land up for sale. If the squatters of Mocha have the money to buy the land, what is stopping them from buying the land? I'd have to advocate
because
for
the government has been selling the lands in that area to their supporters. But let's move on. Let's move on. Hold on. Let's move on.
Man.
James,
if they have the money, buy the land back from the government. Simple.
Okay.
I'd have to advocate for that.
A regular citizen could go and buy the land in Peters Hall or Mocha. No.
Again, anybody could buy lands again once you have the process or you have the cash.
Not under the PPP. Next question. You have recently said that Black people, I'm paraphrasing here, afro-Guyanese should work harder, and that we must position ourselves. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there with you. Yeah, I'm not going to go there with you.
Why?
I've said what I said on Dr. Hines' show.
No. I'm asking you a question. You don't know my question. So you can't preempt it.
No, but you raised something of what I said on Dr. Hines' show, correct?
Right. No. I'm saying I heard you make a statement. No. I'm saying I heard you make a statement. You don't know what my question is. So why would you not want to answer? Let me ask the question.
I'm not going there, sir.
If you decide not to answer, that's fine. I'm going to ask the question. Yeah. So the question is, what do you mean by that? And position ourselves. And with the fact that there's a disproportionate award of contracts, etc., where, in my opinion, Guyanese of African descent that look like yourself are being shut out from the economic progress of the country. How do you advise that Afro-Guyanese position themselves?
Excellent question. I've for a number of years, I mean, like 4 to 5 years exactly, I've heard persons like yourself say that the People's Progressive Party Civic is isolating, alienating, denigrating, stopping persons of African descent from the economic.
But James, hold on. You said it too. You said it as well.
I'm not getting a chance to answer. I don't know why.
No, but James, you said people like myself. I'm saying you said it too. But go ahead.
I don't know
you
why
said
I'm
it too.
Chance to answer.
Go ahead.
You're my friend, Mr. Burke. You're my friend. At the end of the day, you're my friend.
No, all I'm saying, James, is that you said we have said it. I'm saying you said it too.
Let me go quickly.
Good.
I could never ever say the People's Progressive Party Civic is stopping Afro-Guyanese from getting involved in business. Those words could never come from James Bond's mouth.
Not those words, but you accuse them.
I could never accuse them of not giving economic opportunity to Afro-Guyanese.
Yes, you have. But go ahead.
I have never, and I will never. Why? I have seen it with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The effort of the People's Progressive Party Civic to empower Afro-Guyanese.
For the
I'm
last
not saying
23 years? For the last
for the
23
past.
years?
Let me. You know something? If you want to go there, my brother could go further back than 23 years. After 28 years, after 28 years of the PNC, Afro-Guyanese still weren't economically empowered.
But
After
James, you
Hoyt,
were a member
under
of
which you
parliament, though.
served,
You were an
under which,
executive of that party.
under Hoyt, under which you served,
Mhm.
Afro-Guyanese still weren't empowered.
But James, James,
Under Hoyt, under which you served,
but
the
James,
ruling economic class was still East Indians.
but James,
Under Hoyt, under which you served, sir,
you
East
were a
Indians,
member of
not
parliament.
Afro-Guyanese. Not
You were a member of
Afro-Guyanese.
parliament, though.
East Indians, no, under Mr. Hoyt, under which you were his personal assistant. You are the closest to the throne I would have ever been.
Special
You were
assistant.
very close to the throne, sir.
Mhm.
Afro-Guyanese were not empowered.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but where's the proof?
But I am not going to hold on. But I am not going to
Yeah,
allow
you're
you
going
to
to
ask the
23 years.
questions.
I'm saying under
My
Mr. Hoyt.
question to you,
Under
hold on. My
Mr. Hoyt,
question
under
to
which
you.
you served, under which you served as special assistant.
No, James.
Afro-Guyanese were still the poorest in this country.
No, my question to you this. Don't let me do that. My
Yes, sir.
question to you is this.
You
We're
want to
not
go to
doing a
23 years, but I
comparative.
can
Hold
go
on, hold
back.
on.
Yeah.
James, we're not doing a comparative analysis of party performance.
No, well, my
I'm
mind
saying
works
to
like
you,
that, sir. You
huh?
can't just stick in. Watch me. My mind works this way. I could be fair.
That's
You can't
called
tell me. You
filibuster.
can't tell me, James. Let's deal with X, and you don't want to
That's
deal with Y.
called filibustering.
No, let
That's
us
called
balance things
filibustering.
out. Let's
Okay,
balance
good.
things out.
How would
Yeah.
you advise Black people to position themselves, or Guyanese period, whether they're
Thank you very much.
indigenous? But
Thank you very much, Mr.
but
Burke.
the people who are Afro-Guyanese are the
Yeah.
ones suffering under the PPP because of their racist policies. That's my position. Nobody can get me
Sir,
changed for it.
under Hoyt, under which you served,
Mhm.
Afro-Guyanese still weren't empowered. After 1985, after Linda Forbes Sampson born and died, we were still the poorest. After Hoyt left in 1992, we were still the poorest.
My
When David
question to
Granger
you
left in
is no,
2020,
James.
we were still the
I'm not
poorest.
doing a comparative analysis of
No,
parties. My
you
question
don't
to
want to
you
do
is
it, but you got to be fair. We have
no,
always known. Let me say,
no. I'm
Mr. Burke,
asking a question.
Mr. Burke, let me answer this here. Mr. Burke, give me 1 second.
Good. No, answer.
Afro-Guyanese on a
How
whole,
are Afro-Guyanese
Afro-Guyanese on
positioned?
a whole,
Mhm,
Afro-Guyanese on a whole,
mhm,
through successive governments,
mhm.
have not been empowered.
That's not true, but go ahead.
Sir, under Dr. Irfan Ali's administration,
Mhm.
I've witnessed. I can only talk what I see and what I witnessed, and what I've experienced for myself
No.
and
My
others.
question to you,
I'm not being
James,
allowed
is
to answer.
how
I
do
know your
you,
question.
how should, no, how should Afro-Guyanese, let me go back to the young man from quarantine. How should the young man from quarantine position himself so that he could be treated equally and be empowered?
All right.
What's your
It's very
advice?
simple.
We're
It's
not
very
going through
simple.
history and what Ali
It's
doing.
very simple. It's
How
very simple, sir. It's very
good?
simple.
Mhm.
Just allow me to answer. I'm not circuitous. I'm being very direct.
Go
But
ahead.
again, you're not giving me a chance to
Because you
emphasize.
filibustering, but go ahead.
Under Dr. Irfan Ali's administration, there's been considerable improvement in the lot of Afro-Guyanese. There are a number of 24,000 Afro-Guyanese to be exact over the past 4 years have been empowered by this administration. On the
James,
goal, on
James,
the
hold on,
win,
stop. Here
on
one
the
guy
grow,
stop. Here where I
on
gotta
the
stop you.
BIP. Are you
That's
going to
PVP
let me finish,
propaganda.
man? You're
Hold,
asking a
James, no,
question.
no. That's PVP propaganda. What
No,
I
sir.
want you
Google
to
it.
do, hold
Again,
on.
do a fact check.
What I want you to do is
Do
tell
a,
this young man
I
from
just did,
Bordeaux
sir.
who tell him one, do this, two, do that, three.
Yes.
That's what he wants
You
to
don't
know.
want to. All right, good. You
I don't.
didn't
I'm
hear me
not
just now.
interested in
All
the
right, one.
propaganda, right?
One. All right, good. One. The gold scholarships, which have empowered over 7,000 Afro-Guyanese. The GROW program, the WIN program, and the BIP program under the Ministry of Labor. All of those programs are available to Afro-Guyanese to improve themselves and empower themselves. What I've been advising young Afro-Guyanese to do is to start their own businesses, get their compliances, and become pre-qualified with the various ministries. As recently as of 2024, over, I don't want to give a number that I may exaggerate, over 5,000 contracts have been awarded in predominantly Afro-Guyanese regions. Regions 10 had about 500 and something thousand, 500 contracts recently. Region 4, um, have
Good.
a couple
No, no, no,
thousand
no, no.
contracts recently in
How
areas.
does he apply for a contract? 'Cause let me tell you what's good. That
And I
number is
just told you, sir. I just
hold
told you,
on,
sir.
James. Let's deal with that contract number.
You
So
don't want to hear this,
after
no
no,
boy.
no,
This is jarring, no.
let's
You
deal
can't
with the
believe it,
contract
no.
number.
You
James,
can't
let's
believe
deal
it,
with the
no.
contract number because you're being misleading. Here it is. Here
All right,
what?
good. In box, all right, and let me look at Linda. Let me examine
No,
Linda's
no, hold on,
breakdown,
hold on, hold
right?
on. Before you do
There
that, I
were
want to
300
qualify.
persons. All right,
James,
good.
no,
There
no,
were
no, no,
300
no. Hold on, hold
persons.
on. James, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. We're not
I'm
gonna do
gonna,
that.
I'm gonna make
I
this
want to
point. I'm gonna
qualify
make this point no
something.
matter what. Yeah.
Hold on, I want to qualify something.
Yeah.
When we expose the fact that only East Indians were getting these large contracts, the government decided to play a trick on us. And where the Ministry of Works or Housing would have employed people to do certain things, like, back in the day, Ministry of Works their employees will repair the street. Their employees will clean the trench. What the government decided to do is not to employ those employees anymore, but to call them people contract. So in effect, they're doing work that normal employees, they're not contractors. But the reason the government had to say that they're contractors and actually give them contracts to do the same work they would have done if they were employee is because they wanted to dilute the pool with more black people to make it look like they're giving afro-Guyanese contracts. But in fact, they're not. The large contracts are still going to East Indians and they're subcontracting it. If you go on the road, a young man called me the other day, video, and showed it to me. If you go on the road, you'll see a lot of those people are subcontractors. They're subcontractors. They have Mr. Big Mohammed or Mr. Balwant or Mr. Singh or whoever. He gets a contract. He had know nothing about building the road. But then he has to now go out and hire rail engineer, rail road maintenance persons, real people who know to build a road to do that. And then they're subcontracted done. Other than that, these people should have been government employees, right? But they now sever them from government, or they're no longer hiring them, and they're giving them what they call contracts to do little menial things like clean a trench, repair a road, or whatever it is. Let us open up the contract system to competitive bidding. Everybody come and bid. Where James Bond, Afro-Guyanese, Mr. Ali Cock, Indigenous Guyanese, everybody get a right to bid for a contract, and they go and they put in the contract, and an objective team or committee evaluates the contracts and award it based on merit. Why we can't have that? Why we gotta have a group of people sitting on that tent where Barrett Jagdeo or some minister politician can sit down and hand them an envelope with a contract? That is what government employees do. That is for work that government employees would do. So that is putting a web over our face to make us think that the pool of contractors are very diverse when it is not. The main people with the $100 million contracts are still East Indian supporters of the PPP. So
I
let me
know.
ask this
Yeah.
question. Let me ask this question.
Mhm.
Again, would you tell these young people who don't have to go and sit down on that tent and pledge support for the PPP, how they can engage in competitive bidding and, if they're qualified, get a $100 million contract?
Mr. Burke, all what you've said before, I've listened to you carefully, and I must say it is so far removed from the reality in Guyana. I don't know who's feeding you information,
I'm getting accurate
but
information.
let me say this here, your information is so far removed from reality, sir. And let me tell you this here. I'm not going to call the names of the billionaires, the Afro-Guyanese billionaires who've receiving $1 billion contracts. I'm not going to call, because you know what
Hold
I'm
on,
going to say?
stop.
No, you're
Good.
not going to stop me. I
No, hold
listen
on,
to
hold on.
you very simple. I
How the
listen to you.
contracts are
No,
awarded?
you're not
No.
going to stop me,
How the
sir.
contracts are
You're
awarded?
not going to
How?
stop me, sir. Let me finish. I
No.
listen to
How
you.
the contracts are awarded?
I listen to your, how do I put it? I listened to your uninformed rambling just now.
Okay, well then you
So,
inform me how
so
the
I'm
contracts
informing
are
you now.
awarded.
I'm informing you now.
How the contracts
I'm
are
not going to
awarded.
call their names. I'm not going to call their names. I'm not going to
Mhm.
call it, because you know you're going to call them next. Soup drinkers and
No, no, no,
houseways.
no, no, no. I'm
So
just
I'm going to
asking.
tell you,
I'm not
they
asking
are
about the
right
names.
now in
How
Guyana.
the
They're right now
contracts
in
were awarded.
Guyana. They're right now in Guyana.
Mhm.
Afro-Guyanese businesses who
Mhm.
have who did not, for the first time in their lives, in the first in their business history, they're seeing $1 billion contracts.
How the
$1 billion
contracts are
contracts.
awarded. How?
Again, through the same fair tendering system. They're building roads.
James, that's not true.
Let me
That's
give you a
all
typical
informed.
example. No,
You
you
know
may
what
say
the
it's not
government's
true.
doing?
But the fact that
James,
you don't say it's true means not true. I will tell you a very
no.
example. I was a consultant for one such Afro-Guyanese business.
Mm-hmm.
During 2020, I was
Mm-hmm.
his consultant a period of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of persons I went and tried to lobby and says, look, this is a comrade, this is a person who's been contributed to the party, his business is floundering, major contractor, etc. I
Mm-hmm.
tried. And no matter what he did, his bid was low, except for one ministry. He got contract with one ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call the ministry name either.
Mm-hmm.
Today, that contractor has been awarded at least 3 major contracts under the
James,
People's Progressive Party civic government.
when that contract was awarded?
Sir, again, I
It
am
was
not
awarded
good. I am
after.
not.
It was probably
I'm not.
awarded after
No,
we
sir, sir,
advocated.
sir,
After.
sir. You don't have to advocate. You don't have to advocate, sir. We thank you
No,
for advocacy. We
we
thank you. But I'm
there. Nigel
saying this here.
Hughes did an
I'm
analysis.
saying this here.
CGID
I'm
did an
saying this very
analysis.
carefully.
Mm,
Very, very clearly, sir,
mm.
that they are billionaires, Afro-Guyanese billionaires right now,
James,
doing major works on the People's Progressive Party Civic.
let me
In
tell
the
you how those
construction
contracts are
sector,
awarded.
Ministry
Let
of
me tell
Public
you how
Works,
those contracts are awarded.
Ministry of Housing,
James, those
you name it.
contracts
But
are
here now,
awarded because
sir,
and Bar Jagdeo said
sir,
that. Bar
sir,
Jagdeo said it. Hold on. Bar
sir,
Jagdeo said that we are
my,
complaining about Afro. At the time we did the analysis, no Afro-Guyanese, except the guys from Hits and Jam, had a major contract. None, right? Barrett Jagdeo said,
sir, you know something, sir? You know something, sir?
go ahead.
You will not provoke me to give a name.
No, no,
But
no,
I'm
no,
telling
no.
you, sir, watch me, sir.
James,
Sir,
I
listen to me
am
very
saying,
carefully. I
at the
won't give a
time we
name.
did the analysis, the
Sir,
only
sir,
Afro-Guyanese
sir, in
that had a contract
2020, in
was that contract in
2020, all
Linden.
right, good. In
And,
2020, Mr. Burke, in
mhm,
2020, there
mhm.
were two companies I know in 2 months after, about 2 months after, 3 months after the government change, who received $1 billion contracts from the People's Progressive Party Civic.
Like I said, James,
Afro-Guyanese.
at the time we
You
did the
don't know,
analysis,
Mr. Burke, but I could
hold
tell
on,
you.
at the
Yes,
time
sir.
we did the analysis,
Yeah.
and it was three
But
analysis.
the analysis
Nigel,
clearly
hold on,
flawed.
Nigel
Yeah,
Hughes did
clearly.
one, CGID
Yeah.
did one, and another organization did one. The only company that was singularly owned by Afro-Guyanese, and that company happened to have been the owners happened to have been perceived to be PPP supporters, and in addition to that, everybody, because the contractors are talking to me, they are asked to support the PPP. They are asked to support the PPP. They are asked to support the
The
PPP. Anyway,
contractors are speaking to
we
you.
spent enough time on that. Let's move on.
No, 1 second, sir. Can I get 1 second? Can I get 1 second?
But 1 second is gone.
Yeah. In Linden region 4, region 1, region 8. I have information, and this information is probably in the newspapers as well, of the number of new contractors and new businesses who've entered into the fray. They're
James, and I am saying to you,
in
they were
it's a result of
forced
your
to do that.
advocacy. Yes, it's a result of your advocacy.
No, no, no.
And
I'm not
I
saying my
thank you for it.
advocacy. They were
Yes.
forced to do it because we
Yeah, because
exposed.
of yeah, again,
No,
I
not
thank you for
because of my
advocacy.
advocacy. Because a
Thank you for
group of
advocacy.
us
So
exposed the
yeah,
racism in the world of
yes,
contracts.
yes,
That's
yeah.
a fact. That's a fact.
In
Bharat
region 10,
Jagdeo would every Thursday
in
would
region
go
10,
and hold on. Bharat Jagdeo
no,
every
I'm not gonna
Thursday
hold down on
would
this
go.
anymore. Why
Huh?
you don't want to say, why you don't want to admit, right? Why you don't want to admit
That what?
that when the roads in Melanie were done, I
Mm-hmm.
was not in the PP Civic. When
Mm-hmm.
the roads in Melanie were done, all the roads in Melanie done, Melanie North and South were done. I was with the PP Civic, and they came and did the roads. When
But
the roads were
function
done
of
in
government.
Buxton,
That's the
when the
function
roads
of
were done in
government.
Buxton,
That's the function of government, James. Why
no,
you
but
guys
what? Could
giving
I say this
the
here? Could I say
PPP
this here?
some kind of roles
And
when they do
no,
the
you are
functions of
making
the
the point.
government?
You are making the point that the government was not functioning. You're
No, no,
making
no,
the
no.
point it's not functioning for black people. That's the point you're making.
The
And I'm
point I'm
saying the
making is
government,
that they
no,
were
you're saying,
selecting who
sir,
would get contracts
sir,
and who
your
would not.
point,
And
your
on
key
most
point,
occasions, they were either
sir,
Indian or
sir,
supporters of the
but
PPP.
all the contractors that did the roads in Melanie were
Mhm,
Afro-Guyanese. All
mhm.
the contractors were,
When
every
the
single
roads in
one
Melanie were
were
done, when?
2023, 2024.
Exactly. That's after they were
Exactly.
exposed.
So that's good. So thank you for your advocacy. The roads in
You're
Buxton,
welcome. You're welcome. I'll take
the
it.
roads in Buxton, the
Mhm.
roads in Denamstel, I think that was done in 2021, 2022, over the river there. That persons
But
were
here now,
called
we gotta
house
move on.
sellouts and house slaves
We've
because
already
they did the
we
roads in
already 50
Denamstel.
minutes. We 50 minutes away from
The
closing.
roads
Hold
in
on.
Linden, the road works in Linden. Over
James,
500 and something new
James,
contractors
James, you're
under the People's
filibustering.
Progressive Party Civic.
Don't, James, that's
It's not
PPP propaganda.
filibustering. I think
James,
you got no, you could
well,
Google it. This is facts, you know.
good, I
I'm
can
fine
Google
you
it.
have a
I
problem
can
with
Google it.
facts, you know.
Next question. Next question.
Report,
Recently,
do you have a problem with facts?
no. I have a problem with the time. But listen, and I have a problem with you filibustering. But listen, recently we've seen a host
Facts.
of allegations of
Yeah.
corruption in the Ministry of Housing, right? I'm not asking you to justify anything. I am saying, well, to the point where the chief executive officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, resigned. We've seen documentation. I have them as well, where certain number of people who are PPP supporters own large tracts of land, and sold way below market value. Same thing they accuse you of doing. Same thing they accuse you of doing.
I was not accused of that, sir. I was
Huh?
not accused of that. I was not accused of that.
Well, I just read the article that said it was sold way below market value. That's what the Attorney General said. Anyway, the question is, how can a few people connected to the PPP, or what do you feel about the fact that a very few people, all of one ethnicity, connected to the PPP, owning so much large tracts of land in the country, when there are hundreds of thousands of people still waiting to get house lots? What's your view about that?
First and foremost, I know for a fact, especially in the Ogle area, those lands were distributed, began to be distributed under the coalition. It didn't start with the People's Progressive Party Civic. Those lands at Ogle there, they were
The
distributions
lands at Ogle were
under.
disproportionately distributed to huge sets of lands to one
No, I'm
ethnicity.
telling you, no. Yes, sir, Mr. Burke, and you see, Mr. Burke, whoever's giving you information, again, they don't give you the whole picture.
No,
You remember you like to hear what the PP Civic doing against Afro-Guyanese. If somebody tell what they're doing for Afro-Guyanese, you don't want to hear that. So I'm
no.
telling you, on the APNU
My
AFC,
question, well, here, my
but
question to
I'm
you is,
answering your question, Mr.
go
Burke.
ahead, go ahead.
Under the lands at Ogle, in which you find so much issue, the process of giving out and disbursing those lands started with the under the coalition government. It didn't start with the People's Progressive Party Civic.
But
Those
James,
lands,
if the people, hold on, let me ask, let me say this.
my
If
friend
the
will not
coalition
allow me
given
to finish,
government
but
was giving away all of this land, how we still got land left for the
something,
PP give out?
Mr. Burke, you're entitled to your own narrative. But what you will not do is
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
try to tell me, James Anthony Bond, that knows different, that your facts are the true facts.
No. I'm not stating a fact. I'm asking you
I am
if the
telling you, Mr.
coalition
Bork.
government had given out so
I
much
am telling
land.
you, Mr. Bork. Let me tell you, Mr.
Uh-huh.
Bork. Let me tell you this, Mr.
Mm-hmm,
Bork. Let me tell you, Mr. Bork.
mm-hmm,
In 2018,
mm-hmm.
before the no confidence motion, lands were given out by the coalition. And you could
That's not a
examine,
question.
you will listen or you will not listen. If
But
you
you're
don't
not
want to
asking me
listen,
though. You're not
if you don't
answering the
want to
question I
listen,
asked you.
if you don't want to listen, fine. In 2018, I know for a fact. I could tell this for a fact before 2018, before the no confidence motion,
Mhm.
the APNU AFC coalition government distributed lands at Ogle, at Peters Hall, at Wales.
Every government has a duty too. My
I,
question
I,
to you
I
is
I guess I
this:
can't. I guess
Are
no,
you comfortable? But
Mr.
you don't,
Burke,
you see, hey, you're
Mr. Burke,
filibustering. You're not answering my question. My
Mr. Burke,
question
I'm
to you
answering
is,
your
are
question, but you
you
don't want
comfortable with
Mr. Burke,
all of these 30
Mr.
acres
Burke,
of land,
Mr. Burke,
40 acres of land, given
Mr.
out to
Burke,
one set of people?
Mr. Burke, Mr. Burke, I'll advise you, sir, to go do a cursory research. Yeah,
Mhm.
I could tell that you have not researched the issue. If you research the issue, you would find there were thousands of acres distributed by the coalition government, and rightly so, at Wales, thousands of acres distributed at Ogle, rightly so, at Ogle, by the coalition government. I think the
To the
PPP
same people,
government.
to the same people, to the same
So,
people.
so, 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 I don't want to state who the persons were,
No, no, no. I'm not
but
asking you to do that. I'm asking
what you
you
ask
if it's to the same people.
the
I'm
same
saying
people that
that
are now that you have an issue with getting the lands now.
no, I'm saying the same people are getting
Uh,
large plots of land all over the country. 100 acre there, 30 acres. Okay, so let's say Mr. Q, Mr. P, and Mr. R, right, are getting uh 30 acres at Ogle, 30 acres at Wales, 30 in Barbies, 30. The same set of people are getting large plots of land all over the country. I'm asking if you're comfortable with that. You don't have to
I,
answer the question, we can move on.
I'm answering your question, sir.
Mhm.
The government's land allocation policy from since uh, let's start from since before the no confidence motion, since the coalition government started at Ogle, Wales, where etc. The same policy of allocating lands continued on the People's Progressive Party Civic. I could say without any fear of successful contradiction, both Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese and Portuguese Guyanese and foreigners as well benefited from those information. To say that only Indians have benefited
That's not what I'm
is
saying.
false.
That's not what I'm saying.
To
My
say that only
question
people
to you is,
connected to the
are
PP
you
is false.
comfortable with
I
the...
am extremely comfortable
That's
with
fine.
any government that distributes lands to its people, to
No, no,
any
no.
Guyanese.
No, but the PPP government is distributing large plots of land to their supporters, like 5 or 6 of
And
them all over the country. Next question.
sir,
We got
sir,
we got two more
and
time for two more
the People's
questions.
Progressive Party Civic is
James, we got time
also
for two
giving
more
land to
questions.
Afro-Guyanese.
That's I
Large
but
plots of
here,
land,
I'm
right
not
over
doubting
there,
that. I'm
prime land.
asking, I ask about, and you said you're comfortable, so you're done. Listen, next question. You raised the issue of extrajudicial killings, right? I want us to deal with this frontally. The People's Progressive Party, and I'm giving you my opinion here. The People's Progressive Party has a history of violence against Black people, Afro-Guyanese. Um, at one point in time, you and I were on the same side of this issue in terms of our advocacy for justice. Now, from the 1960s, well, we weren't born then, but that's the history. Let's come to when we were active adults or we were conscious as human beings. From 1999 straight through to when Comey Wing was killed, the People's Progressive Party operatives formed death squads that killed hundreds. President Granger put it at 1,400 based on the intelligence he received when he was president. There's a dispute about the numbers. My question to you is, and I don't want a comparative analysis of parties. I'm talking about this particular incident where we have death squads, where we have the US government providing evidence about who killed who and how this thing was carried out. Are you now saying that you agree with the PPP that those people should be killed, or are you still advocating for justice for all of these people who were killed? And what's your advice to young Black men in Guyana who look at the history of murders that the PPP committed against Afro-Guyanese and tell them to join that party?
Very simply, Mr. Burke. Could I ask a question? Are you advocating for
No,
justice for
no,
Fineman
man, I
Wallace?
want you to answer the question.
I'm asking a question. Are you advocating for justice for the Luzignan massacres?
I'm
How
a
about the
candidate, but
Bartica
I'm
massacres?
advocating for, you sound like Bar Jack Deal.
No, I don't have to
We are
start
not
Bar Jack
comparing
deal.
lives and the value of
Oh,
life here. I am asking for justice for anybody who was killed.
You fail.
But
Could I say this here?
specifically,
Could I say this here? Could I say very clear? Can I be very, very clear?
yeah.
It is clear, sir, that with your thinking, the problem will never get solved. Because your only concern is what the PPC did. You're not
No, my
concerned what
concern is
governments do.
justice. My concern is
No, sir. No,
justice.
your concern is not justice.
You can't tell me my
I've never
concern is
heard
though.
you call for just with the Bartica massacre. I've never heard you mention the
Of course,
Bartica
I'm from
massacre.
Bartica. I have
But I've
said,
never heard you
but James,
mention the
James,
Bartica
James, James,
massacres.
let us
And
deal
you're
with the
from
question.
Bartica.
James, I ain't going down the rabbit hole. My
No, you gotta
question
go
to you is,
down.
my
You gotta go
question to you
down.
is,
Have you advocated
what,
for justice with
what,
Lusican
yes,
massacres
yes, yes,
and
my
Bartica
yes,
massacres?
yes.
I've never heard you use those words yet in your mouth, Mr. Burke.
You didn't hear it, I did. My question to you though,
Publicly?
how do you advocate to young black people who have seen their brothers slaughtered by the same party that you now support? How do you advocate for them to join this party or support the party when there's no atonement, no justice for the people that look like them that were slaughtered by the party you now support?
Very simply again, Mr. Burke, the problem is not with government, and I hope you understand this. I hope you understand. I hope every young person, young guy needs to understand it. No matter which government is in power, the police force must be competent, must be capable,
But it's not the
must
police
be
force alone
professional.
that killed those people, James.
And then again, you're not going to allow me to speak, but it's okay.
Go ahead.
So it
Go
is
ahead.
not a matter of which government. Governments have failed us from since time immemorial protecting us. The governments have failed to protect us and protect the
But
citizenry.
here why I'm interrupting you,
The,
right? Because you're being
it,
misleading. It is not the police force that killed those people. It was the People's Progressive Party, Barrett Jagdev and his
you say that Barrett
cabal.
Jagdev went and killed somebody?
Hold on. They formed the death squads. They have
No,
said it.
are you
They
saying
formed
that
the death
the
squads.
politicians committed murder?
Yes, yes. I am
They went and
saying that
shoot people?
politicians, hold on. I'm saying that politicians in Guyana, in the PPP, formed death squads that slaughtered black people. And I'm asking, since there have not been any justice for these people that were slaughtered, how can you tell afro-Guyanese who have seen their brothers and sisters slaughtered to support that oppressive party? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm answering very simply.
No, you can answer my
Every
question with question.
to every single Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese, American Guyanese, we must all advocate for police reform. If we
But it's
have
not
a
police that killed
reform,
them. It is the
if
PPP that killed them.
sir,
It is the PPP
again,
and their operatives that killed them.
again, do you know how Lyndon London died? Lyndon London, aka Blackie, died.
I was not in Ghana then.
Sir, but that's what you don't have the basic and cursory knowledge of these things, but are speaking
I have
profoundly on them.
knowledge based on the United States documentation that was
How could I
presented.
accept
Hold
you
on.
speaking?
That was
How could
presented
I
in a
accept
court
you
of law.
speaking on extrajudicial killings if you don't know how Blackie died?
No, listen, James.
Mr. Burke, I'm
My
ashamed of
question
you
to
now.
you is,
How
that's a
did
rabbit hole.
Blackie die? How did Lyndon London,
No,
aka Blackie,
I
die?
am not going down that rabbit hole. My question is,
No, he died
how
on the
do
PP
you
government. No. It was on the PP
support?
government. It was on the PP government. How did Lyndon London, aka Blackie, die?
Hold on. How do you tell young Afro-Guyanese
Yeah, Mr.
who
Burke, you tell the
saw
Afro-Guyanese,
the
how did
slaughtering?
Lyndon London die, aka Blackie?
How do you tell Guyanese who saw the
Mr. Burke, well, you
PPP?
must know if you advocated for people like Lyndon London, you must know how they would have died.
I know how London
How
died,
did
but I'm
Lyndon
not going down
London
that
die? How
road.
did he die? How did he die?
No, I'm asking you questions. It's my interview.
No,
My question to you is,
that's it. How did he die? How did he
my
die?
question to you is,
That is the problem there
how?
with you.
No,
You
no,
are
no, 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 no,
speaking
no.
profoundly on an issue in which you have no knowledge of.
So, do you think I don't know?
You
James,
don't
I'm not
know.
going
You
down that
don't
road.
know that Lyndon London. I'm not sure Lyndon London died. He died in the hands
James,
of the Ghana police force.
James,
Let me
my
tell you how Lyndon
question to
London
you,
died.
James, the question is,
I'm
if
not
you don't
answering
want
your
to answer the
question,
question,
sir,
it's
because
fine.
can I say this here?
No.
You don't know. You don't know. It is clear you don't know. I don't have to answer you.
James, my question to
You
you
don't
is,
know.
James, my question to you is, I wrote
That is
Desmond
why you
Hoy's
can't
remarks.
address the
Hold on.
issue, sir.
I wrote Desmond Hoy's remarks from New York to
No,
that
you
funeral.
can't
Fair
address
enough.
the issue of
Hold on.
extrajudicial killings and police
James,
brutality because
James,
you don't know.
you are absolving the PPP from killing
No,
black
you
people.
are ignorant, sir. You don't know.
James, it doesn't matter. My question to you is, how do
You
you
have to
tell
know to
black
advocate
people?
as an attorney.
James, James,
As an
James, James,
attorney, you
James, hold
must
on.
advocate from a position of knowledge.
James, my question
Yes,
to you is that you're trying to get insulted. It's not fair.
yes.
My question to you is this.
I'm not insulting you. I'm just
But
saying you
I
don't
am
know,
saying
sir.
I chose not to answer the question. You can't say I don't know. My
No, you
question
don't
is,
know.
my
You don't
question is,
know.
I am
You
not
don't
going down that
know.
rabbit
You
hole.
did not know.
So James, last time to
You did
answer the
not know.
question. Last time to answer the question.
I'm not going to answer that
How
question, sir,
do
because you don't
you
know anything.
how do you
I could educate you on extrajudicial killings, though.
advocate for Afro-Guyanese young
Yeah,
people to support a party that
yeah.
slaughtered their brothers and sisters
I could say that very
without
carefully.
ever apologizing? Hold
It
on.
has to do with police reform.
Without
Unless
adver-
we reform
without
the Guyana
them
police force,
without
unless we put systems in place.
apologizing,
Yeah,
without ever
yeah.
apologizing, without ever atonement, without any pain, any compensation,
How did
you're
Lyndon
telling me,
London die? How did Lyndon London
you
die?
are telling me
How did
that,
Fineman Rollins die?
listen to me, my question to you is,
Yeah.
how did Waddle die? How did
I know
Cameron
Waddle
die?
died. I know
How did
Waddle died.
Cameron die?
Waddle was shot
Ever,
outside his home
James, my question to you is,
on the Rupert Craig Highway.
last
Uh-huh.
time and then we closing,
Yeah.
are you willing to call for the PPP to apologize for forming death squads that killed hundreds of young black men?
And again, sir, very simply, I will not call on any single government to apologize
All right.
because I will advocate for reform. I will advocate again for reform. We have to strengthen the systems that are there to protect our citizens.
All right.
You have to understand that, sir.
It
And
has been
being in the
it's
US, you know of reform. You know of
James,
having a police
James,
force that is
James.
reformed, that is professional.
The only reform I know of is putting the people who killed those people in jail for murder. Anyway, so it was nice having this conversation with you. We should have a number two because I still have a number of questions, but we're out of time. We're out of time, but I'm still amazed that you don't want the PP to apologize for killing hundreds of Afro-Guyanese young men. Anyway, come again, James. Thanks for coming on the program. And I hope that we had some sort of enlightenment to our audience.
Well, I must say very clearly that, Mr. Burke, I wish that I know you have to do your job, but I wish at the end of the day, we paint a better picture of Guyana. Guyana is not just about uh, racial issues. It's not just about that. And I think there's tremendous opportunities for all races. And we should advocate and tell young people to get into those things as opposed to telling them not to get into this, not to get into that, because we perceive government is against them. There are
All right,
tremendous things being done for us as a people, tremendous things, and I'm a testament to that.
great. All right, James. Thanks for coming on. Let's do it again.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, my brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, good. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me.